Hey folks, in this video you're going to see how Batman's butler Alfred destroyed Superman. In this alternate reality, the Joker, the infamous agent of chaos, cunningly deceives Superman, leading him to unknowingly commit the gravest of sins, killing his wife and unborn child. As if that weren't enough, the Joker triggered a devastating nuclear explosion in the heart of Metropolis, amplifying the overwhelming anguish and sorrow that consumed the Man of Steel. Enveloped by an intense blaze of wrath and an uncharacteristic tide of hatred, Superman's emotions erupted like a volcano. Driven by his seething rage, he struck down the Joker with an unforgiving blow, piercing the madman's chest and ending his reign of terror. But the anguish within Superman did not dissipate there. It continued to fester and consume him, propelling him down a dark and twisted path. Superman's anguish and fury continued to escalate, leading him to establish the Earth regime, a ruthless dictatorship with himself as a supreme leader. His misguided intention was to forcefully subjugate all of humanity, believing that this would suppress violence and suffering. However, not everyone in Earth's superhuman community embraced Superman's authoritarian vision. In fact, the one who emerged as the leader of the resistance was none other than Batman. Initially, Clark and Bruce clashed as Superman swiftly implemented his new government, but a truly extraordinary event unfolded within the confines of Arkham Asylum, forever altering the course of their confrontation. Alfred would never have been battling Clark if this pivotal moment had never occurred. When Superman arrived at Arkham, accompanied by his trusted advisor Wonder Woman, they had a chilling objective in mind. The incarcerated inmates, some of the most heinous criminals in the nation, were to be either relocated or, in the worst case scenario, executed. Superman believed that eliminating these criminals would bring him closer to his utopian world vision. Naturally, Batman vehemently disagreed and arrived determined to stop them at any cost. However, in a shocking twist of betrayal, Damian Wayne, also known as Robin, switched sides and aligned himself with Superman and his regime. This treachery struck Alfred harder than any other of Superman's actions, as it represented a personal betrayal from someone he cared deeply about. The bond between Alfred and Damian had been akin to that of a second father and son. Witnessing the young boy succumb to the manipulation of Superman's authoritarian ways was devastating for Alfred. However, Robin's betrayal was just the beginning of a series of tragic events that unfolded that fateful day. Amidst the intense clash between Batman's forces and Superman's regime, a moment of accidental rage and unchecked anger led to an unimaginable tragedy. Nightwing, known for his empathy and unwavering compassion, was struck down and killed by none other than Robin himself. The sudden loss of one of Earth's most compassionate heroes would have been heartbreaking enough, but to have Batman's firstborn meet his demise at the hands of his youngest protege was a severe blow. This moment elevated the conflict to an entirely new level of sorrow and anguish. More than anyone else, Alfred Pennyworth, the loving and caring surrogate parent to the many young individuals Bruce had taken under his wing over the years, suffered an immeasurable loss that day. In fact, Alfred was so consumed by grief that when Catwoman arrived at Wayne Manor to offer solace to Bruce, she found him drowning his sorrows by staring into the depths of a bottle. Alfred firmly believed that the blame for these tragic losses rested squarely on the shoulders of none other than Clark Kent, Superman himself, and when the time came to confront Clark head-on, Alfred seized the opportunity to take his stand. Before we delve into the fight between Superman and Alfred, let's rewind a bit to understand the context. The conflict between Superman's New World Order and Batman's rebellion reached a critical point when Lex Luthor developed a potent Kryptonian superdrug. This extraordinary pill bestowed enhanced speed, strength, and durability upon those who consumed it, potentially leveling the playing field against the Man of Steel himself. Recognizing the dire consequences of Superman's forces gained exclusive control over this technology, Batman concocted a bold plan to infiltrate the Fortress of Solitude and procure a pill. He intended to analyze and replicate its properties, equipping his team with a chance to stand against the impending clashes. The daring squad included Captain Atom, Catwoman, Green Arrow, and Black Canary. As Captain Atom engaged Superman in a fierce battle to keep him occupied, the remaining members of Batman's team successfully infiltrated the fortress. However, their mission took an unexpected turn when they stumbled upon Superman's parents, Martha and Jonathan Kent, seeking refuge within the fortified walls, safe from prying eyes. However, the team's momentary distraction was short-lived, as Wonder Woman swiftly struck Captain Atom with her sword, unintentionally triggering a colossal nuclear detonation equivalent to 7 megatons in the upper atmosphere. Now let's fast forward to the climactic encounter between Alfred and Superman. This momentous clash occurs later in the narrative as a confrontation between Batman's rebellion and Superman's forces escalates. Alfred, driven by a profound sense of loss and the blame he places on Superman for the tragedies that have befallen his loved ones, seizes the opportunity to confront the Man of Steel head-on. Despite Captain Atom's hope that the explosion would eliminate Superman, the Man of Steel miraculously survived. His return to the fortress was met with frustration and anger. Due to an explosion at the cave entrance, only Green Arrow managed to enter Superman's inner sanctum. Oliver valiantly attempted to fend off the enraged Superman, but his arrows proved ineffective against the invulnerable superhero. In a tragic turn of events, one of Oliver's arrows accidentally injures Jonathan Kent, further fueling Clark's fury and volatility. Realizing he had no escape route, Green Arrow made a desperate move. He managed to stealthily snatch a single pill without Superman noticing, attaching it to an arrow and launching it far into the snowy wilderness where his comrades awaited. Subsequently, Superman brutally and mercilessly beat Green Arrow to death, even as his parents pleaded for him to stop. In that moment of realization, Superman understood he had been deceived, and one of the pills had been successfully taken from him. Driven by his anger and determination, Superman raced to the Batcave, only to discover that Batman had ensured the safety of his allies by sending them deep underground. As the sole person left to face Superman, Bruce Wayne fearlessly confronted him upon his thunderous arrival. "You're delusional, Clark," Batman declared, standing his ground against the powerful adversary. The tension between the two iconic heroes reaches its peak as they stand face to face in the Batcave. The outcome of this momentous encounter will shape the future of their conflict and have far-reaching consequences for the fate of the world they once fought to protect. Fresh from the brutal murder of Green Arrow, Superman's anger was palpable. He seized Batman by the throat, holding him aloft with a menacing grip. "Be careful how you speak to me," he seethed, his eyes glowing with intense heat. "I'm here to put an end to this." Batman, undeterred, retorted without hesitation, "No, you're not. If you wanted to kill me, I would already be dead. You didn't have to face me. You could have used your heat vision to obliterate me from space." There was a brief pause before Bruce continued. "Is that blood on you? Bali's blood?" Batman's intention was to keep Superman engaged in conversation long enough for his computer to analyze the stolen pill. However, when Batman revealed, "I know why you're here, Clark. I've seen this before. You think I can stop you, and deep down, somewhere, you want me to." Superman lost control, throwing Bruce across the cave in a fit of rage, bellowing, "Stop talking!" Yet even after the forceful collision with the cave walls, Bruce stood unwavering, continuing to criticize Clark. "That would be easier for you, wouldn't it?" he pressed on. "If I stopped talking. But I'm sorry to disappoint you with this anticlimax. I'm not going to do it, Clark. I won't fight you. I don't believe I can defeat you without taking your life, and I'm not like you. I'm not a murderer." The tension between the two legendary heroes reached its pinnacle in this intense moment. Batman's unwavering stance against Superman's tyranny and refusal to compromise his moral code showcased the depth of their ideological conflict. With the word murderer, Batman activated a file on the central screen, playing Clark and Lois's wedding vows. As Batman engaged Clark in conversation, the Batcomputer analyzed and replicated the super pill's formula. However, Superman's patience quickly wore thin when Lois was mentioned, striking a sensitive nerve. Despite the distraction, Batman's attempt to grab the pill and teleport away was thwarted as Superman caught him in the nick of time. Clark effortlessly lifted Bruce above his head, acknowledging that he didn't intend to kill him, but rather render him powerless to harm the world further. With a bone-chilling crack, Superman broke Batman's spine over his knee, showing no mercy as he continued to apply pressure, shattering Bruce's vertebrae. Finally, Clark flung the incapacitated Batman to the ground in disgust, but as he walked away, an unsettling feeling crept over him. In shock, Clark demanded to know what Bruce had done when he discovered that the formula had been uploaded to a remote computer. Despite the immense pain and near unconsciousness, Batman defiantly replied, "I gave us a chance. We can synthesize it now. We can stand up to you." Superman's actions had crossed the line, and even he was momentarily repulsed by what he had done. However, his contemplation was interrupted by a familiar voice and the touch of a comforting hand on his shoulder. It was Alfred Pennyworth. "Clark Kent," Alfred spoke with a stoic resolve. Startled, Superman responded, "Alfred!" Yet Clark's surprise blinded him to the true danger. The super pill, which Batman had been analyzing, was missing from the table. Instead of facing a feeble old man, Clark now stood before a human with powers equal to his own. Without warning, Alfred unleashed a headbutt of unimaginable power, catching Superman off guard. It was a devastating blow, perhaps more impactful than any he had experienced in years, surpassing even surviving a recent nuclear blast. Blood exploded from Superman's nose upon impact, and he collapsed to the ground on the verge of losing consciousness. Meanwhile, Alfred stood over him, fists clenched, ready for what would come next. With a resounding crack, Alfred's fist met Clark's head, slamming it against the unforgiving stone floor. The butler's pent-up anger surged forth as he unleashed blow after blow, reclaiming what the would-be dictator had taken from him. In a torrent of fury, Alfred shouted at the man who had stolen 2 of his children, relentlessly pummeling him into the ground.
"You don't get to hurt my family anymore!"
He roared. The blows rained down upon Superman, his skull crashing against the ground repeatedly. It was a brutally one-sided beating, catching the last son of Krypton completely off guard. Helpless, Superman crumpled to the floor, enduring the onslaught until Alfred deemed it enough. Stepping away from Clark's battered and bloody body, Alfred maintained an air of calm despite his victory over the most formidable and dangerous man on Earth. He walked over to Bruce, assuring him, "Easy, Master Bruce. I've got you." Bruce started to inquire about Ruth, but Alfred silenced him before he could finish his question, knowing that Superman could still hear their words even amidst the blood oozing from his ears. "We have everything we need, sir," Alfred affirmed as he carried his son toward the teleporter. "There's nothing worth saving here. Never piss off the butler."